Oh, hey, welcome back to Yogi's Garage. You can see I'm just hanging out inside of my 2002 Porsche 911. If this is your first time joining Yogi's Garage, welcome. You're in for a treat. For those of you following along, you know that I am moving pretty slowly on the engine rebuild. At first it was registration, trying to get the car inspected in the state of Texas. I'm still waiting for my license plates, and I want to hold off before I take the engine out so that I can run a special test on the engine to rate performance before I decide to take the engine out and fix it up. I want to try to do a comparison of the two. So what am I up to, man? It's been a week and a half since I've posted a video. I know some of you have been wondering what's going on. You saw my Instagram. If you haven't been following my Instagram, that's where I normally post my updates. I want to make sure I have enough data before I create a video to provide to you. So here's what I've been up to, because it's clearly not the Porsche. This is what I've been working on. You're like, what am I looking at here? Well, this is the front end of my Audi A4. And it should look familiar to some of you who've been watching my video series on the engine rebuild, but what's missing is the cylinder head, because the cylinder head is way over there in the background because I had a timing cover problem, and I'll discuss in a second here. Yeah, so this has been taking up a lot of my time, and as you know, I have a full-time job, so YouTube and Yogi's Garage is a part-time job, so that's what's been eating up the majority of my time because I got to get this car on the road. We only have 2 cars that are drivable, and this is one of them. The other one belongs to my wife. So what was happening is the cylinder head is leaking right from the mating surface between the rear timing cover and the cylinder head itself. And the reason being is because the lower bolts here stripped out. So I had to drill out the damaged threads and use helicoil and hope and pray that it works. But unfortunately, you can't do this on an engine that is not transversely mounted. Transversely mounted means that the engine is mounted sideways. If this engine was mounted sideways, I'd be able to get to this timing cover no problem, tap the holes, all while it's still in the car. But that's not the case. Since this was all the way in the back, there's no way that I could get there. When the cylinder head is installed, as you can see here is the back of the deck on the engine block. This is the area that I have to work with. So there's no way I can get a drill in there to drill out and tap. So I had to pull it after a few months. But take a look at some of the carbon buildup already on a car that maybe has 500 miles on it since I rebuilt it. And again, I keep saying, if you haven't seen the videos, you should know that this thing was pristine clean, pistons and all. And I've already wiped them up a little bit, but they were already covered up with some carbon. So it's a very dirty car. Anyway, so that was one of the problems. And the other problem is this. This is the front of the engine. And what you're looking at there is the front sealing flange along with the actual crank seal itself. Well, here's the problem that I'm being faced with here is this seal, the black ring you see in there, is very, very loose. And I had to take this all apart because it was leaking. So I bought a new seal and put the seal in the flange, and it's very, very loose. Come to find out that this flange here has been revised 2 times, and I suspect that the seals are being built to match the superseded version of this flange. So I'm waiting for some parts on that, and hopefully I can get that leak resolved. But the leak was way worse in the back, as you can imagine. When the timing cover is loose and the oil's being thrown around, it's being thrown around all over the back of the car, so I had to clean all of that up. So that's what's going on here at Yogi's Garage. Woo, that light is bright. Let me turn that off. Ooh, brighter, brighter. Now I'm dead. Let me just hold it down. Oh, my eyes. Yeah, so that's what's been going on here at Yogi's Garage. But we're not going to focus on Olaf in this video. If you're interested in the Olaf videos, you know what to do. But let's focus on Pepper and her instrument cluster. So enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, I want to remove the cluster from the instrument cluster from the dashboard mounting unit here. So I went ahead and removed the two T20 bolts that are here and here, located on both ends. And then there's just a couple of tabs here you see in gray that will flip up, and then you can remove the cluster from the dashboard unit. And the dashboard unit, I mean, you can just see, let me take this over here for a moment. This is the top of the instrument cluster. You can see how dirty it is. You know, it's got just, I don't even want to know what that is. But my goal here is to take the lenses off this thing and clean behind it. So I want to clean behind there, get the moisture out from behind LCD. I think that's moisture. I hope it's moisture. It may be sun damage. So I want to start by just, you know, scrubbing off all of the schmutz here on top. I had to put gloves on because didn't want to get that stuff on my skin because I don't know what it is, man. But I'm going to come in here and get the idiot lights cleaned up. Okay. Okay, I'm going to remove these clips on the end. They're basically clips that go around both sides to give you a metal mounting reinforcement. Come around this side, do the same thing with the screwdriver, ever so gently. Just kind of, here we go. One. Same thing here. Okay. There we go. And no matter how hard you try, because this thing is so old, parts are bound to break. And there you go. There's an example of that. So it's a little bit of a clip. I think I can super glue that. So you can already see the separation happening here. I'm going to go ahead and take these dials off because something tells me that it's going to pull straight out. Here as well. I believe there's a tab right there, but there are some other clips down here. There we go. Okay. There's a couple clips, a couple tabs, and then there you go. All right. So now I have access to the grunginess on the inside, which is, you know, mildew and just crud, man. And this, yeah, that's heat. That's unfortunate. So that damage you see there on the LCD screen is permanent. Looks like it got scorched by some sun. So that's permanent, unfortunately. So let's focus on this. And this is just, you know, plastic lenses. Nothing too exciting. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of AP cleaning on there. It should be a pretty quick clean. I'm being very gentle inside here because even though this is just horsehair, it can still leave little abrasions on the clear plastic, so be careful. Okay, looks good. Now I'm going to go in with a clean shop towel. So before I put this back, first I want to show you that it is indeed clean, even though it really doesn't look clean. I don't know if you can see through that or not, but it is, it's stained. So I'm going to hit it with some invisible shield cleaner. I'm going to use what's left of this. This is the Mother's Power Plastic that I used on refinishing the headlights on Pepper and the tail lights. I think they came out okay. I think the Sylvania brand is much better. But for this, I think I'm just going to try it out right here on the small lens. Unfortunately, I can't get a power tool in there or anything small enough, so I'm going to do it by hand. And it's going to take a little while. Luckily, some of the damage on the bigger ones is isolated to the outside, so I don't need to worry about the front lens so much. But the outside two lenses in this cluster are really stained over with probably inappropriate cleaning solutions, or, you know, whatever the person was drinking at the time. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this. I'm going to use it on this little application pad, and then I'm just going to kind of get it on there. I'm going to put a little bit more. There. Okay. Now I'm going to use a clean shop towel, the blue kind, and just go to town. See if I can make a little finger well right there. And then, yeah, it's already coming off. And you can see the crud that's on that glass. And you want to put a little bit of support here with your hand. You don't want to push down directly onto the cluster, because there are two tabs there that will flex and eventually break. So as you can see here, I'm using my hand to support it, and then I can put all the pressure I want without worrying about that. I mean, I can see the divots in the plastic. So whatever that was, it kind of melted the plastic a little bit. So I got to take a layer off. I mean, it's as simple as that. Okay, so it's still not perfect, but it's considerably better than it was before. There's one deep stain right there that I'm going to work on. I may use my Q-tip for that. It also put a nice sheen on it. Not only did it get most of the stains off, but you can see, let me see if I focus on that, and then let me see if I can get a contrasting color. Here we go. Right here. Yeah, there you go. See that stain right there? Right there. Okay, we'll work on that, and then we'll get the rest of the polish off of it and get a final judgment call on that. But I can tell you, it looks a lot better. So I just want to focus on the spot. I'm turning the Q-tip every now and then. All right, overall, I am quite pleased with the results. Please ignore the white film or fingerprints that you see. That's because I haven't given this housing a bath yet. But I want you to focus on this area right here on this small crescent moon dial. So here's some before footage of what the lens looked like, and then here's what it looks like now. And as you can see, you'll still see some shadowing and some divots, but that's because the chemical that was used on this plastic really ate into it. But compare it to what it looked like, this is really good. Yeah, so overall, it looks great. I don't want to put a whole lot of time into this just yet. I'm just going to get it presentable and then get it back in the car after I wash it and then dry it with a blow dryer. Well, compressed air. All right, so let's get it going. Okay, folks, I'm censoring this part of the video because this is a proceed at your own risk step here. While it is possible to use a Dremel tool with a polishing pad here, it takes extreme levels of patience and extreme levels of control to not put too much pressure on the plastic, or you risk overheating it and melting it. And for those of you still watching, here's a little spooge in the face. I knew I wanted to keep the polishing pad as wet as possible so that I could keep the plastic from overheating. Overall, I think I was successful.
The moment I could see through the polish, I knew I needed to stop and let the plastic cool down. I'm not gonna lie, it makes short work of cleaning the stains and the scratches out of the plastic. I'm pretty confident here that I can knock out the rest of the dials and nothing flat using this Dremel technique. I'm using the lowest speed. The edges around the dials were the most challenging, and you'll see why here in a moment. At this point, so far, so good. You'll see that I scorched a little bit on the center dial, and therefore I'm not endorsing this as an easy task and therefore not a Yogi's Tech tip. You have to have a really steady hand here. You can't apply too much pressure with the Dremel tool or you'll melt the plastic, and you can see that clearly on the center dial. I know I can resolve that with polishing, but I'm not recommending that you do this unless you are completely confident with your skill level. Mistakes aside, overall I was satisfied with the outcome.
Yeah, so, hey man, we all make mistakes. And the difference between me and somebody else maybe is that I learn from my mistakes. So I learned that I can resolve that problem on the dial by easily just using a slightly more abrasive paste to get the bumps down and then polish it up with some really fine polish to resolve the problem. But take a look at the end result. All right, there you go. Let me put on some light, maybe get a little bit brighter in there. Yeah. So as you can see, not bad. I added those rings. I found a seller from the Netherlands who sells these aluminum rings, and they fit absolutely perfect. And I think the dials look so much better. And as I mentioned in the video itself, unfortunately, that LCD panel is permanently damaged. And the company that I did business with is not returning my emails anymore because they actually sold me the LCD panel for the Gen 1 model of the 996. So this is the Gen 2 model of the 996 instrument cluster, so the LCD panel was way bigger. And for those of you who own the cars, you know what I'm talking about. Well, if you're interested to know who this vendor was, hit me up. My email's listed in the description of my YouTube profile if you want to know who to avoid. But I'm not going to mention their name on YouTube just yet. I'm waiting for them to follow up with me. But if you want a warning, I'll give you one. So that's what's going on with Yogi's Garage. I got the instrument cluster done. Now it's time to work on the engine. That's coming up in a future video. Again, if you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. But hey, tell me why in the description so maybe I can adjust my next video. But for now, thanks for watching Yogi's Garage. We'll see you next time.
I could truly be moody. I could have played the French in the movies. I've been a part-time shadow cat, part-time. That is not a guy that I would ever want to try to battle rap. Snap, crackle, pop, mind fried to a crisp, make an MC into a wide-eyed lunatic.